Hi, my name is Jeff Phillips, and I have a daughter, Savannah, who attends the Beverly location for Little Hands Learning Center. If I may, I kind of want to tell you a little bit about why it is I selected the school. What happened is my wife and I decided that when it came time for actually our oldest, Zimmy, who has also attended the school, to find a place to go for their education, we decided that there was a couple things that were going to be really important to us. And the way that we figured this is that we sat down and we each took our respective corners and we began to list out things that were most important to us about our child's education. We decided that while her list looked somewhat similar to mine, we had different things that we both were interested in, it really all boiled down to trajectory and this idea that if we gave our kids a head start and really gave them the type of foundation that was necessary for them to move forward and do well academically, that when we told them you can do whatever you wanted to do, we could say that knowing that they had a really sound foundation from which to grow and develop. We've had a tremendous experience, we really have. One of the things that's really interesting about the Little Hands learning experience is that our children made friends, and as parents, we also made friends, and we believe that those friendships are going to last for a very, very long time. We were very happy to find that the program itself was highly progressive. And I'll say right now that it's demanding for the children in some respects, but also for the parents. There's a certain amount of time that needs to be sacrificed to work with the children to make sure that they're on track. And it turns out to be that it's been a learning lesson for all of us collectively. The staff has been highly supportive. I can't think of anything that we ever needed or any question that we ever asked that was never answered or addressed almost immediately. And I think that moving forward, if we were to have another child or if there was anyone else who were interested in a program, I would highly recommend them. But again, it's the type of program where it takes time. There needs to be a certain degree of stick-to-itiveness. You really need to turn that television off and sit down with your children and concentrate on the lessons and the things that are being provided. When I think about the list further back when Zimmy first began to attend LHLC, I think one of the things that we were looking for that was really truly most important to us is that we wanted a program that would essentially treat our children much in the same way that we would had we decided to stay home with them. And I think that's exactly what we found. That's exactly what we found here at LHLC. I think that the reason the program is successful, the reason that it has been able to turn out students in the manner that it has, is that it's responsive to the needs of the parents, it's responsive to the needs of the children. And I think they really do a great job of taking into consideration the types of skill sets that are going to be necessary for children moving forward. One of the objectives that both my wife and I had, and I wish she were here to speak, but I know this, she would say it, is that when we took a look at both of our lists actually and compared them, one of the things that we knew at the very beginning was the top of the list is that we knew when Zimmy and of course Savannah, when they graduated and moved on to their kindergarten experience, we want to make sure that they were able to read. We want to make sure that they knew their numbers. We want to make sure that they had a certain degree of more of a well-rounded type of academic experience leading up to what would be kindergarten. And that's exactly what we've gotten. They both tested very well. They participated in some of the programs and gotten accepted to really good schools. And if nothing else, we can take a look at the progress that Zimmy, who came before Savannah, that he's made. He's got nothing but straight A's moving forward. And he has a certain sense of determination, I think, that comes from, obviously, the parents will take some of that credit. And I think also from being in a program that is rigorous, that basically says you can do whatever you want to do, but you have to concentrate on the basics. You've got to get the basics down. And once you have that, you can move forward.
And the only last thing we've been asking the parents to do is just a thank you. So on behalf of my family, we'd like to say thank you to Little Hands and then finish it however you like.
Mm-hmm.
How you want to start?
On behalf of myself, my wife, Jawanda, Zimmy, and Savannah, I just would really like to thank Little Hands Learning Center from the bottom of my heart. The experience we first started off, we really weren't certain. I know that very first day that I walked into Little Hands with Zimmy on my shoulder, and again with Savannah at age 2. When I walked in, like any other parent, I was concerned. I wasn't certain that I was making the right decision. I knew that academically I was making the right decision, but I had problems letting go. I want to know that my child was at home or with a relative or family member where they'd be safe and well taken care of. And all of those concerns were dispelled immediately that first day as I walked into the classroom. And I can remember it now as if it were yesterday. Zimmy walked into the classroom, and I looked at him, and I kneeled down, and I said, "Okay, big guy, this is it." And he turned and he looked at me, began to cry, and before I could say a word, his new teacher walked over, picked him up, gave him a hug. He rested his head on her shoulder, and he waved quietly, and I knew that that was my sign, that was my signal that he was in the right place. And it's been a great 5 years. Thank you, Little Hands Learning Center.